And we're live. Welcome to Top 20 Pitch Night of the second annual Cleantech Investment Summit with Startup TNT presented by Foresight. It's Thursday night in the Prairie, so that means it's another week here at Startup TNT. It's week 145. I'm Jesse Weeb, local lead for Startup TNT here in Saskatchewan, and I couldn't be more ecstatic to be hosting this very special evening with Neil Van Boot, local lead for Calgary. Neil, say hi.
Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? Hopefully you guys are ready to see 20 awesome pitches like I am.
Absolutely. Hope you all are enjoying yourselves wherever you are. Please feel free to post where you are at this evening in the chat and what brought you here. Neil, why don't you give us a little history about why we're investing in Cleantech tonight and what brought us here last year?
Yeah, the why is obviously we need to be good stewards of this earth that we're in, and we want to make a difference. And there's some really interesting prairie companies that are poised to do so. So we want to support them with some money at the early stages and see them grow and succeed and make a difference in our environment. So like Jesse said, this is our second annual Cleantech Summit. And last year we had a company called ZS2 won. Two other companies, Wine Crush and Wyvern, also got some money from TNTers. And all three of them have made some great progress in the last year. ZS2 has grown a ton. They made an acquisition. Wine Crush has done a bunch of new projects, and they've gotten some recent funding. Wyvern's also had multiple funding announcements, and I think they're in Y Combinator right now. I think they kicked off in the January group for them. Yeah, we've got a ton of partners that have joined in, and they're all here to help us host tonight.
Absolutely, right? And when we look at this logo field of 20 companies, right? What strikes you? Well, what I see agriculture companies, I see solar panel, batteries, computer chips, menstrual products, geothermal, all kinds of different companies, right? And where are these companies from, Neil?
Oh man, we got companies from Alberta, Saskatchewan. We didn't see any Manitoba companies make the top 20 in our first foray into that fine province this year, but we're excited to see some next winter. So yeah. And what about the investors, Jesse?
Well, on the investor side, right, we got a bunch of investors that are looking to solve climate change, right? And it's one of the greatest challenges that we faced, right? So our investors are really keen to be investing and funding these companies right here on the prairies, right? We've actually got almost 40 investors signed up from Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatoon, Regina, Winnipeg, Toronto, and Vancouver, as well as some small towns throughout the prairies, right? We've got at least $175,000 going to one of these deals. I think that after we look at the quality of the deals that are being presented here tonight, you're all going to be asking yourselves, how could local investors possibly settle for just one deal at the end of the day? So we're hoping that at the end, we're going to raise over $500,000 for a few companies that are going to be presenting here tonight.
Absolutely.
So what's our agenda for today, Neil?
Well, we got 2 hours of some killer pitches up for everybody. So the way that it's formatted is there's 5 minutes per company. So you have 3 minutes to pitch for each of the founders, and then there's 2 minutes of Q&A period. So this might sound like a decent amount of time, but it's going to go really quickly. So folks are already engaged in the chat here. I see lots of stuff going on. But as people are pitching, please shoot any answers in there. We have 2 minutes, so it's probably 1 to 2 questions that'll get answered. So feel free to throw them in the chat, and we'll see if the question folks can get at it. Our co-organizers and our investors are all hosting this with us. So we got ambassadors from Saskatchewan, we got ambassadors from Alberta, we got all of our sponsors, our community partners. Everybody's involved in this to see some companies have a great night.
Absolutely.
So we'll give each speaker 30 seconds of grace, and then we'll make sure that they wrap it up after 3 minutes and 30 seconds to get to the Q&A period.
Yeah, and it's so great to have all you here in the audience today. You know, your job is super crucial as well. So making sure you're getting engaged, you're giving those speakers shout outs, you're cheering them on if they're giving those great pitches. And if you can even post your LinkedIn, start making those connections, right? So, and then after it's all over on the pitches, there's going to be after parties in 4 cities, Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatoon, and Regina. I'm already here in Saskatoon at Birmingham's for the after party, and I hope you can join me. Before we get started, though, I think it's important for us to acknowledge the land on which we operate, and I'll leave it to Neil to do that for us today.
Totally. So this was written by one of our interns here, Galia Farid, here last year, and I think she did a really, really great job, especially because we're covering a ton of geography here. So here we go. It all started with a few friends getting together, having drinks and sharing stories, and now every Thursday, in person or online, we gather. Whether we create companies or just discuss ideas, we always have stories to share, stories to hear, and stories to write. So storytelling is an integral part of the TNT brand and its community. Storytelling brings us together again tonight, not necessarily related by blood, beliefs, gender, or ethnic background, but we all gather for this night for our love of stories. Not physically in the same venue, we still connect through the one land that we share under our feet, a land that has carried many peoples before any of us were here to walk this earth. Tonight, we honor those elders whose stories this land carries. We acknowledge that this land is the traditional territory of the peoples of Treaties 1, 4, 6, and 7, and we encourage all those in attendance to take a moment to acknowledge the treaty territories in which you currently reside. We acknowledge all the many Métis, First Nations, and Inuit who have walked on this land before us, and tonight we honor their mission to gather the community and share stories.
Amazing, Neil. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's really powerful, and I think it's something we should all take a moment to think about. Yeah, but in the spirit of that, we are going to start with some storytelling tonight, and to kick us off, we've actually got our first co-host from our presenting sponsor, Stephanie Bailey with Foresight Alberta. Stephanie, why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Stephanie Bailey. I'm the Regional Director for Foresight Alberta. Foresight is Canada's largest clean tech accelerator, and we are proud to be second-year sponsor for the Cleantech Investment Summit. This is a really important night for the folks that go through accelerator programming, whether it's Foresights or other folks in the entrepreneurial system, because it's the time that they get to showcase what they've learned, and it's an opportunity for them to present to investors and get a little bit of funding to get themselves going and accelerating their work that they're doing. And without further ado, let's take a look at our first pitch. So our first presenter is Anka Chan. She is from Ruth, and she's going to tell us all about Ruth. Anka, over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anka, and I'm the co-founder of Ruth. 12 billion pads end up in landfills each year, taking up to 800 years to completely degrade. For just 11 menstruators, the lifetime carbon emission of using pads is equivalent to driving a car for a year. Menstrual waste affects us all, whether or not we menstruate. But sustainable period products can be inconvenient. That's why we created Ruth. At Ruth, our mission is to make sustainable periods easy. And the 123 people we surveyed and interviewed also found that period cups were uncomfortable and didn't want to worry about washing reusable pads. At Ruth, we have pads that are conveniently disposable and biodegradable, made with 93% plant-based materials, highly absorbent, and extremely soft. And our pads are 93% plant-based compared to the 90% plastic-based pads that you'll typically find on store shelves. Our pads are made with a key ingredient, kenaf fiber. Kenaf is a fast-growing renewable plant that improves soil health for farmers, and unlike organic cotton menstrual pads, kenaf has a carbon footprint 5.3 times less than cotton. Now, after 83% of our beta testers said they'd recommend our pads to a friend, we launched on Kickstarter. Our campaign concluded at 208% funded, generating over $14,500 through crowdfunding. To date, we've raised nearly $130,000 so far through equity-free grants and loans to support our business. We've also been featured in Global News, the Edmonton Journal, and by CBC Edmonton. Now we're entering a $465 million market in Canada alone, with menstrual pads accounting for 37% of the market's overall value. Our target market is early adopters who are young, eco-conscious, working professionals who menstruate, and our secondary market is comprised of mothers who focus on organic and sustainable household purchases. Now, to reach this market, we have 3 distribution channels: e-commerce, retail, and wholesale B2B. We just launched our e-commerce store in October and sell a box of 15 pads suitable for a typical period for $13.99. And we already have a 35% repeat customer rate. We're in 1 online retailer and have ongoing conversations with 3 new retailers, including London Drugs. Our wholesale channel launched this month, where we supply menstrual pads to workplaces, malls, and municipalities that offer free menstrual products. And we're in conversation with a mall in Toronto, several companies in Edmonton, and a municipality right now. Now, to make all of this happen, our founding team of 2 women have been trained through world-class accelerator programs, including Founder Institute, the biggest pre-seed accelerator in the world, and Next 36, a program that annually selects 36 of Canada's most promising young entrepreneurs. We'd love your help to accelerate our growth in our 3 main distribution channels with the opening of our $250,000 pre-seed round. Join us to transform the flow of menstruation by turning red into green. Thank you.
Hi, Anka. Thank you so much. That was such an awesome presentation. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Kenzie Bergeron. I'm an investor in this summit, and I'm also an ambassador for Startup TNT in Saskatchewan. So I'm going to be asking a few questions to the first set of groups. So great presentation. Thank you so much. I would definitely be a customer. First question that comes to mind is you chatted about London Drugs. I get what I think to be maybe a competitor or a similar brand from London Drugs specifically. So I'm just kind of curious, what's that competitive advantage there? Because I'm just thinking from a competitor base, there are some options there already.
Yeah, so my name is Nicole. I'm the other co-founder. I'll be answering some of the questions. Yeah, so with our current products right now, ours is 93% plant-based. A lot of the products that are currently in London Drugs are made out of organic cotton, which requires more water than the materials that we're using with our pads.
So it's the KNAF.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then I also understood that there was a donation piece to this whole puzzle. So can you just kind of walk through that and what's that strategy on donating? Because I know you guys have that initiative built in there.
Yeah, so in the beginning, when we launched our website in October, we actually had for every purchase, there was a 10 cents that we were donating to our partner organizations. And then currently we have a give back pack in our website where you can actually purchase 25 pads to be donated to our partner organizations across Canada.
Oh, I love that. Super awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much. That was a great pitch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think it's over to our next presenter. Next, we have Mark Cooper with Prairie Clean Energy. Mark, take it away.
There we go. Every year, more than 1.1 million tons of flax straw are burned across the prairies in Canada and the US. That straw is burned because farmers don't have any other choice. The straw is too fibrous to leave in the fields and it has no market value. At least it didn't. And that's where we come in. Hi, I'm Mark Cooper, the CEO of Prairie Clean Energy. At PCE, we aggregate and densify flax straw to produce pellets for bioenergy. There are nearly 4,000 biomass power plants in operation worldwide today, with nearly 2,000 more coming on stream within a decade. These plants have traditionally been fueled by wood pellets, but are looking further and further afield for new, sustainable, and responsibly harvested alternatives. The truth is that with the gigantic expected growth in demand for wood pellets, the sustainable supply of wood simply cannot keep up. Inventory is low now, and shortages are only going to become more pronounced. Fortunately for us, flax straw isn't just an alternative, it's a better one. It burns hotter and cleaner than wood and other common fuels that these facilities use. And PCE has spent the last 2 years working with global research leaders to confirm our science and prove our process. We are the only company in the world to be pelletizing flax straw, and we have patents pending with respect to our pellet process. We split our process into two major areas: aggregation, which is all about obtaining the straw. This is about logistics management, proximity to field, and transportation. We've got that covered. We can get it from the field to our facility cost effectively and with farmers as our partners. And they're really excited to be working with us. The second part is densification. That's where we apply our proprietary processes to deliver a product that meets both ISO standards and our client standards. But the real beauty of our model is that we can replicate it. Our process allows us to aggregate and densify any ag residue, not just flax. In Canada alone, there are 48 million tons of ag residue that have no alternative purpose. Applying current biomass pricing and discounting heavily, this presents a potential total market opportunity of $7 billion. We're a first mover in a new market space. We have patents pending. We're working closely with clients around the world. We have the relationships we need with farmers, and we're just a few months away from operations. We've got an incredibly strong management team in place with the skills and experience we need to be successful. Our current revenue projections for 2022 are 2.1 million, growing to 3.7 next year, and then to 33 million in 2024. We're willing to raise up to 5 million in what we anticipate will be our only equity raise. This money will support our growth through early 2024 when we are in full production. We can't wait to speak with you about the very real opportunity here. We have the right team doing the right work. We built a company positioned to seize our first mover advantage and grab an unshakable market position in a market that no one else even knows exists. So join us and let's build something great together. Thanks.
Hi, Mark. Great job. Great job at illustrating the opportunity. It was very clear. We were able to do a deep dive. So I have a few questions because I know in a few later stages you have the opportunity to do facilities locally or somewhat in Saskatchewan or North America or in Canada. Can you just kind of clarify who's responsible for that product and what the timelines are that for?
Yeah, so a big part of our focus is really that expansion into multiple locations. And so we're anticipating being able to do 4 different locations in Saskatchewan, 2 in Alberta, 2 in Manitoba, 2 in North Dakota, and at least 1 in Minnesota. It's all based on proximity to product, Kenzie. So really we want to be within about 160 kilometers or 100 miles, right, of the field. And we need to be close to rail transportation in order to optimize our efficiencies. And so we have a pretty good sense of where those locations should be. We have options on several of them now to purchase, which is good, and looking forward to pursuing those further. And so in the long run, we're looking at as many as 10 facilities across the Canadian and American prairies.
Yeah, I love that idea. So proximity is key. So I guess one follow question to that is until you get those facilities up and running, I'm under the impression that there's probably a farther proximity, potentially Asia or whatever. So what are those obstacles and how long is that going to take to get the product over there?
Yeah, I mean, our client base, our most likely client base is in Japan right now. That's the largest market for biomass. They're most eager. They've been actively present. They've come to Regina in the middle of winter. I tried to talk to them, tell them that was crazy, but they came anyway because they were really interested in this product. And so strong interest in Asia. We think that's likely where our first clients are going to be. The beauty of that is they sign long-term agreements, right? 10, 15-year offtake agreements. So that provides us security in terms of revenue and allows us to leverage those contracts to expand growth. But the real opportunity for us is in secondary markets. Things like residential cooking markets for smoker pellets, markups much higher, kitty litter, bedding for animals, right? So once these pellets exist, we can ship them and provide them to anybody who uses pellets, and the markup in secondary markets will be more significant. So we see those emerging as growth opportunities for us as we move forward.
That's awesome. I could just hear my husband's ears perk up at the YXC watch party when you said barbecue smoke pellets. So that's super interesting. Anyways, thanks so much, Mark. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Kenzie. Next up, we have James McQueen, who will be telling us about GrainFrac. Over to you, James.
Thank you. My name is James McQueen. I'm Vice President of Business Development at GrainFrac, and I'm excited to be here tonight to tell you more about our game-changing technologies. Very few people are aware of how unsustainable plant protein extraction is today. It requires 25 metric tons of water to produce just 1 metric ton of pea protein isolate. It's an industry dark secret that today's extraction technologies aren't as sustainable as they should be. It requires a tremendous amount of water, but also energy, which drives up production costs and also has a huge carbon footprint. At GrainFrac, we've developed a solution. Our patented process is able to reduce the water requirement by up to 60%, which dramatically reduces the energy utilization and creates a far more cost-efficient and sustainable technology. We can deploy our technologies anywhere in the world, including developing countries where resources are scarce and plant protein is on the rise. Together, we can lower the cost of plant proteins, drive better adoption of plant-based foods, and move towards a more sustainable food system. Despite phenomenal growth in recent years, major challenges remain preventing broader adoption of plant-based foods. Number 1 is achieving cost parity. A plant-based burger shouldn't be twice the price of a beef burger. Number 2 is improved product characteristics. I'm talking about better taste and texture, but also functionality and nutrition. These are the top challenges on the leading plant-based food company CEO's desk. The technology was born at University of Alberta by our CTO, who's a grain scientist at U of A. Our CTO's name is Thava, and Thava spent some time surveying a number of large ingredient processors regarding their pain points producing plant protein. What they came back with was the fact that the cost efficiency was the key the key issue and the need for such a tremendous amount of water and energy to produce the plant proteins. Thava spent a few years developing the patented process where he's able to increase the protein concentration, but also significantly reduce the material load going into wet processing, which essentially means we're able to use less water, which translates into less centrifugation, less filtration, no spray drying, and also less wastewater treatment. In terms of traction, we've recently secured cost-shared funding through Protein Industries Canada and are conducting a collaborative phase of pilot R&D with Ripple Foods. For those of you not familiar with Ripple Foods, they're one of the leading, fastest growing alternative dairy companies in North America. We'll be supplying Ripple with a variety of different concentrates and isolates for them to iteratively test in their pilot lab as they look to commercialize the next generation of alternative dairy beverages. In addition to this, we are close to signing a joint development agreement with the large global food and nutrition company. We have a strong leadership team with diverse but complementary backgrounds in farming and agriculture, fast-growing food companies, aligned with some of the brightest, most talented research minds in plant proteins. We're currently raising our first seed round of capital up to $2 million to execute the PIC project, build out a dedicated team, optimize our product and process, and develop a blueprint for scale up. Thank you, and I look forward to taking any questions you have.
Hi, James. Awesome job. Definitely a huge emerging market. Really wasn't clear on, before this, the water extraction problem. So I really like the problem that you're solving and the team. I guess first question that comes to mind is revenue streams. What are those? What does that look like?
Yeah, so revenue streams, we're a B2B sales model of ingredients to plant-based food companies. So although we have this technology solution, which could make things a lot more cost efficient for the large ingredient processors who are making plant proteins, our plan is to scale up our capacity and produce ingredients. So the first phase of our commercialization is executing the PIC project, where we're going to be further demonstrating the technology at a higher scale. And then the next phase is to develop a pilot demonstration plant, where we'll be using that as the platform to either exit to a strategic or use that as the pilot to scale up to a larger facility.
Awesome. Okay, and I am going to read a question from the chat.
Yes.
So Jade asked, have you looked into the non-dilutive funding available in SASC for, I think he's meaning plant protein, obviously.
Yeah, well, the PIC project is actually much like that. It's a cost share program, so the dollars get matched with government funding to complete the R&D. And then for the phase 2, we are looking at STTC for funding for the phase 2, which would be non-dilutive project funding.
And your ETA on phase 2, just timelines wise?
We're talking to investors about both phases right now. So it's pretty much being run concurrent, but from receiving the capital for phase 2 to build, actually we're going to retrofit an existing plant. We could have the plant up and running in 6 to 9 months. So our hope is to get it up and running for 2023.
Exciting. Thanks so much, James. Great job.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, that was a heck of a first 3 pitches, and I'm excited to see 17 more. So next up, in terms of our co-hosts, we have Sherry Corbett. She's the managing director for BDC's Cleantech practice. And Kenzie's still on deck asking some more questions after this. So we're going to keep her rolling with this too. But with that, I'll hand it over to Sherry.
Thank you. Yes, as you said, Sherry Corbett from BDC's Cleantech practice. We're a $600 million fund focused on early stage clean technology companies. A little bit later stage than most of the companies here. So think Series A and beyond. Our smallest check size is around 5 million. So funding round of Series A around 10 million is where we start to play. TRL 9, so looking at that point where you're commercializing and scaling is typically our focus. So I will hop right into introducing the next company. So I'd like to introduce Logan Downing. He's co-founder and economist from Carbon Assessors, a company on a mission to help provide transparency to Canadian carbon markets. So take it away, Logan.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'll just jump right into it. We think Canadian carbon markets need to work better. We find huge transparency concerns. Emitters don't know who they can transact with, who they can buy from. We also find a lot of lack of trust in markets. So I see strategy teams quaffle on how they might invest into future technologies. And then we've also forecasted out a $3.5 billion deficit in these markets by 2030 in Alberta alone. So these markets do need some work, and that's what we're aiming to do here. So there we go. Okay, so the problem, how we're going to solve this, we're going to connect the science to the markets here. We're going to ground everything that we do into a carbon cycle model. We take satellite data, we bring it in, we ingest it, we understand what are the flows in and out of the atmosphere. That then grounds everything we do. And so then we can understand and make more transparent these markets. And then we're going to create carbon products off of that data. So we're going to create price assessments, supply demand forecasts, and eventually we'd like to partner up with another satellite company to launch our own cluster of CO2 detecting satellites. And this will give us an active live data stream coming into our models so that we know exactly what's going on. Here's an example of some of the data that we already are ingesting from OCO2 NASA. Pretty interesting to see. So we take that data, we bring it in, process it. We've actually started developing our own novel algorithm for understanding this data. And really a big issue that we find is cloud coverage. So we found a novel approach to circumnavigate that. And then we take that data and we create our supply demand forecast for these particular markets. So we've received some fairly good results so far, about 84% R-squared when we look at the Alberta market. Some of the products we've already launched, and these are active, is a weekly update for the Alberta tier market, about a $250 price tag. We use it as the loss leader. We then have our long-term supply demand forecast. This is our big ticket item. This informs strategy and capital projects. So for large integrated oil and gas companies, this is especially important. How big is the opportunity? Well, we've done $16,000 in sales in the last 2 months of operations. We're very new to the market, but we've identified a niche already. So we see ourselves expanding and growing very quickly, which is why we're here at the TNT today. We're going to move into new markets every single month, scaling across Canada so that by the end of the year, we've achieved all of the markets in Canada, and we've started to move into the US and into the voluntary space, as well as developing a North American carbon cycle model. We have a mixture of folks on the team. So I'm an economist. We have Ken, who's a software engineer. We have Albert, who's a market analyst. And then we have Masood, who's our resident climate scientist. We're looking for $500,000 to throw rocket fuel into this mission of ours to make the Canadian carbon markets a better place to operate and work with. And so thanks a lot, and I'll take questions.
Awesome, Logan. Great job. Congratulations on your initial sales. That's great to see some traction. There's already questions in the chat, so I will honor those. Just throw them back up. Okay. Lots of love. Is this applicable to just industrial and grassland carbon, or would this work as well on forests, etc.?
Yeah, good question. So our carbon cycle model considers all land categorization. So forest, grassland, etc. We consider it all at this point in time. But the data products we're creating is specifically for large emitters at this point in time.
Okay. And there's been lots of questions behind the scenes and now in the chat about the whole satellite piece. I know that might be exciting to a lot of people. So a couple questions on that. How would your satellites or partner satellites, if that's part of the business model, which wasn't clarified, but improve on the NASA data? And then will you be partnering with any companies in that satellite industry? And what would that, will your product be an add-on?
Yeah, good question. So a lot of the public satellites that are already in orbit right now do a good job, but what we need is more satellite data coming in real time. So cloud coverage is a huge issue. We're trying to develop a novel algorithm to kind of work around that, but ultimately you need to feed our model with more information, more data flow, so that we get a live kind of stream and understanding of the flows in and out of the atmosphere. So that's how we'd use the data. What we would like to do ideally is partner up with a local company who could possibly send up a payload that can image this in the atmosphere.
Yeah, Smart. Okay, well, lots of love in the chat. So great job. Great problem that you guys are solving. So we look forward to watching along. Thanks again.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Back to you, Stephanie.
Or Sherry, that's okay. Next, I'd like to introduce Apostle Radev, co-founder of SolarSteam, a company on a mission to enable industry to adopt a plug-and-play renewable heat technology. So take it away, Apostle.
Thank you, Sherry. And hello, everyone. My name is Apostle Radev, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of SolarSteam. We're a Calgary-based clean tech company developing the lowest cost renewable heat. The problem that we're addressing is the high cost and high emissions associated with heat production. We do this with our enclosed solar systems that enable heat-dependent processes to reduce OPEX and greenhouse gases between 40 and 70%. What is novel about our technology? It's a transformative design for extreme climates, where we use a transparent membrane enclosure to shelter a lightweight curved mirrors that concentrate sunlight onto a solar receiver. The solar receiver carries boiler feed water that can be turned into hot water and steam at temperatures of up to 550 degrees Celsius. Now, what we have achieved in the last 12 months actually includes a series of both business and technical milestones. We have been successful in hiring an engagement specialist to work closely with myself and our Chief Development Officer on customer discovery, proposal writing, as well as help us develop a detailed CRM and sales funnel. That has resulted in completing preliminary designs for 5 potential early adopters just in the last 60 days. And these clients represent the mining industry, the food and alcohol production, and the space heating and cooling. We are also currently engaged in completing third-party validation with various industry and research partners. And we were also selected as the finalist at the Calgary's 2021 Mayor's Innovation Challenge. On the technology side, we are currently completing, we're about 90% completed with deployment of our field pilot, which is going to be situated in Penoka, Alberta. And we have also developed a strong IP strategy, including a patent pending. We have also continued developing strong collaborationships with academia, research institute, EPC, and fabricators, all with the intent to enable scalability. And we have also developed a very detailed bill of materials to help us develop very detailed CapEx forecasting. Now, this has all been made possible as a result of successfully closing our $1 million pre-seed round, which has allowed us to increase the capacity of our team to 5 full-time and 4 part-time employees, engage contractors, as well as work on developing our pilot. We are just opening our seed round of $2.5 million that will be spent partially between further developing our R&D and business development team, leading up to demonstration projects deployment, as well as increasing manufacturing and fabrication capacity so that we can enable full-scale scalability. Thank you so much for this opportunity to present today. My name is Apostle Radev, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of SolarSteam.
Hi, Apostle. Nice to meet you. I can't say it as quite as eloquently as you. Great pitch. First question that comes to mind is kind of around the IP piece. It's more of a tech question. So who owns the IP and how is it being protected?
So we have patent pending on top of some other elements of a very strong IP strategy. And where we are unable to develop licensing agreements, this is where we're also going to be focusing on additional pockets of IP. But concentrated technology has been around for over 100 years. So we are really focusing on that transformative design for extreme climates.
Okay. A question from the chat. So is this similar to GlassPoint's Solar, Oman, and California CSP projects?
So yes, GlassPoint, it's a competitor. Well, they're no longer in business, which can be good and bad thing. We've learned a lot on somebody else's dime. So what's very different than what we do compared to GlassPoint is GlassPoint was using glass house enclosures, green style-like enclosures, whereas in our case, we use transparent membrane enclosures and a double sloped aspect to it, which really enables us to address wind loading, as well as actually address some of the winterization aspects of the system and prevents cracking through hail, as well as freezing of otherwise the glass that was used by GlassPoint.
Okay. And then I guess one more offline question I wanted to ask is what are the required qualifications for the system operator?
What are the required, I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
What are the required qualifications for the system operator?
So for the system operator, yeah, thank you for that. So they need to be a thermal energy consumer. So that can range from hot water all the way up to the 550 degrees Celsius steam. So essentially it's any process that requires thermal energy, such as petrochemical industry, oil and gas, food and alcohol production, and various types of district heating and cooling. And I mentioned cooling because absorption chillers actually use thermal energy instead of power.
Great. Okay, thank you so much. That was an awesome pitch. We look forward to watching it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Back to you, Sherry.
All right. Next up, I'd like to introduce Ray Payment and Jennifer Billsberger from Form Innovations, a company making revolutionary PCF blocks that provide architects, engineers, and project managers with a green building alternative to the building envelope space. Take it away, Ray and Jennifer.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, there.
I don't have any notes. Hello, my name is Ray Payment, founder and CEO of Form Innovations. We are a building product manufacturer.
Ray, just to interrupt you for a sec, if you're sharing a screen, we can't see it quite yet. You want to give it another go?
Sorry, guys, 1 second.
No problem. Cool. There we go. I can see it now. So you should
Sorry,
be ready.
guys. My name is Ray Payment. I am the founder and CEO of Form Innovations. We are a building products manufacturer with a whole new way to manufacture. Some of the problems we have, we're having lots here.
Climate change.
Sorry, the problem that we're facing in the world is climate change, carbon footprint, lumber prices increase, energy waste and costs, changing building codes, carbon tax. So what we make is an ICF, that's insulated concrete form, which is it's like big Lego blocks and then poured concrete in the middle. We manufacture ours using polyurethane foam, which looks very similar, but is very different. Some of the advantage that we have over our competitors is we are almost twice the R value, 3.5 times the strength. We have faster installs, 80% less rebar, 1/3 bracing, much simpler to construct, significant cost savings. So in our business plan, we have phase 1, which is our 8-inch block, which is for below ground, which we have completed. Phase 2, our phase 1B is our 6-inch, which goes above ground. Now, where it gets interesting is our phase 2, which is our mobile manufacturing plants. It is very easy to scale and an innovative manufacturing platform, which I'll show on the next slide. Phase 3 is large volume productions, AI and robotics, lower cost, higher profits. So our mobile manufacturing is for on-site manufacturing for large subdivisions, large projects, government, and so on. Disaster relief, northern communities, FEMA, Red Cross, for instance. And in this process, we are able to make a block every 8 minutes on-site, making 500 to 1,000 square feet per hour, which goes directly into the build. Very easy to scale. The advantages, again, is eliminating large overhead, packaging, warehousing, transportation, distribution, warehousing, delivery. Additional cost savings, eliminating middlemen, streamlining logistics. It will be over 20-to-1 ratio of volume savings in transportation and warehousing. Our ask is $180,000 for our 6-inch line, $400 for injection molding for one of our products that we need to make our block. It's a huge cost savings there. And phase 2, the mobile plants, which are approximately $600,000 each. Now, we don't have these in any direct line. It depends on what happens in the next month. So I've got 35 years in the construction industry. Jennifer is a co-founder as well, looking after admin and logistics. And we have an in-house mechanical design. We have in-house machinists, production manager in place, plant manager in place. Thank you everybody for their time. Sorry for the mix up at the beginning.
Awesome job, Ray, and absolutely no problem. It was a pleasure to watch your pitch. There was a couple good questions in the chat, so I will read them out. So first, please let us know why you are waiting to launch the remote process. This is a big differentiator.
Sorry, which is which?
So the question was, please let us know why you're waiting to launch the remote process. This is a big differentiator.
We just finished our plant process, which in the design of that, we were calculating everything by the inch to go into containers or tractor trailers, depending on the variations. So that's where we're at right now, which will be starting in the next 2 months. So it was in conjunction with the plant, and we had to figure out quite a bit. We had to go right to the inch to maximize every inch we could.
Okay. Good to know. It's moving along. Has this product been adopted by the building code?
We've done testing with SATE, and it meets all requirements. It meets or exceeds all requirements for the ICF industry.
Okay. And kind of around the code, one last question. So is this CSA and NBC approved? So we've got some people in the industry.
No, not yet. There's quite a bit of process in that. You can't get that until you're in business for years and have a product to sell. We do have structural engineers going to sign off on this, approving.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Ray. Thanks for the great pitch. And before I throw it back to Sherry, it's great to see TJ. What are you, running on a treadmill? How fabulous. Little health and wellness on this call. Back to you, Sherry.
I think it's back to Neil. I'm going to go on my treadmill.
Yeah, it's actually back to me here, Jesse.
Back to Jesse. YXC party.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Kenzie, Stephanie, as well for that first block of pitches. That was fantastic. I'm having a blast here at the Saskatoon viewing party. Cheers to the first set of pitches. We've got another set going up next, led by another Cleantech fund. Actually, we got Daniel Vo coming in from Renewal Funds to head up our next block of pitches. And we've got, I believe, Chris Edwards actually is going to be doing the Q&A, TNT ambassador from Calgary. So I'll throw it over to Daniel. Take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Jesse. And it's nice to meet everybody. I'm Daniel, and I work for Renewal Funds. We're an impact venture capital firm in Vancouver. Our two founders, Joel Solomon and Paul Richardson, have been investing in sustainability for over 20 years. So they're really pioneers in the space. We tend to look at two core sectors: sustainable consumer goods and clean technology. We're a Series A investor, and we generally like to be lead and write check sizes from 3 to 6 million. But enough about myself and Renewal Funds. I'd like to introduce our next company, Nanode Battery Technology, and the founders Bing Cao. They use melt spinning technology to design and produce high performance anodes.
Thank you for the kind introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Bing Cao. I'm CEO and co-founder of Nanode Battery Technologies, and we are here to make batteries better. Right now, the battery market is skyrocketing. It will go 10 times over the next 10 years, but the battery innovation is laying behind. One of the biggest challenges is the graphite anode, which hasn't been changed for almost 30 years. Theoretically, it has been pushed to its theoretical limit, so there is no room we can improve it to make our battery last longer. We have to have new innovations. That's how Nanode comes in, bringing in this patent-pending technology with combined innovation, material design, and innovative scalable manufacturing process. This structure will allow us to increase the battery energy density by 50%, and this scalable and really fast manufacturing speed, as you see here can reduce the net battery cost by 16%. And because this is a very simple process, we can overall get more than 60% GHG emission reduction annually. And we want to be an anode supplier for battery manufacturer companies. This is $1 billion market. And what we do is we produce this freestanding anode ribbon and ship it to battery manufacturer companies. They can then build it into different batteries to fit a certain application. So compared to other competitors, we have a combined advantage in both inexpensive manufacturing and the very high energy density. We get great customer validation. Every single customer we're talking to, they are eager for this high volumetric energy density anode. And they told us, yes, this is really, really important for the future. And currently we have an active pilot project with a leading micro battery manufacturer company called VDL in Asia. And currently we are on stage 2 testing with them. Based on the progress we made, they've already signed a 1.5 million framework purchase agreement with us. And we have many customers waiting for samples, and we have a solid customer pipeline in the future. So looking forward right now, we are raising our seed to go through the pilot project. And next, we are going to move on to the consumer electronic market and eventually the EV market. We are supported not only by the local talents from University of Alberta, but well connected to the University of California at Berkeley. We are funded by Berkeley's GeoConnect Fund and get a lot of resources in California and in the Bay Area. Our team is ready to deliver. And we are raising $500,000 nowadays to complete the POC test and make key hires, as well as triggers a framework purchase agreement. We've already had $100K in due diligence with a Cleantech VC and over $200K conditional grant funding. So today I hope startup TNT can join the journey with us. Thank you. Happy to take any questions.
Hi, Bing. I'm Chris. I'm an ambassador for Startup TNT here in Calgary. Great to see your pitch there. Obviously, a huge market for battery-related things going on right now. Could you tell us a little bit about your view of sustainability inside of tin mining?
Yeah, that's a great question. We actually look into the tin mining industry, and it turns out that tin is a really abundant material. The current tin reserve can support the society for more than 700 years. And another huge advantage around tin is the recyclability. So the tin can be recycled to the same high quality for like unlimited numbers. And there was a well-established system for tin recycling. Actually, one of our key advisors who is working on the lithium battery recycling industry has told us, well, this is going to be a huge advantage looking into get a second life out of lithium-ion battery. And it's going to be great for the battery economy, the whole benefit for the whole system.
Okay, great. Thanks, Bing. I saw you had a really nice list of partnerships in your presentation. Could you tell us how you are going to leverage them for success?
For success. Yeah, so that's a great question. So we've got a lot of interest nowadays. And as you see, our team is pretty small. So right now we are kind of trying to find the high quality customers who is really eager to work with us, to pick several ones to work with them and go through the validation and get a proof of concept, and then we can expand our team to work with more of them. But at the same time, I'm thinking, well, we can certainly apply several grants to support a kind of prototype demonstration program, or our partner, our customers also willing to pay to support us on demonstrating small pilot projects as well.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Bing. Really enjoyed chatting with you. Back to you, Daniel.
Thanks, Chris. The next company I'm introducing is Environmental Material Science, and with the founder, Stephen Siciliano. their companies using technology to focus and accelerate on land remediation.
Thank you very much, Daniel. I appreciate the introduction. My name is Steven Siciliano. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Environmental Material Science, where we do smart soil science. And EMS's technology allows our clients to clean soil, track pollutants, and easily plan their next step. Our ideal customer are facility managers who are responsible for damage prevention, environment, and compliance at active facilities. And the current technology is simply not up to the task. When there's a release, the current technology is unable to clean at active facilities. And as a result, our target customers, these managers, typically she manages multiple projects that are opaque, uncertain, and expensive. And EMS helps solve her problems. When our customer needs to ensure environmental compliance, we provide them with our soil sense and our optimizer products. Whereas when our customer then needs to perhaps clean these active facilities, we complement those existing products with our distributor, which distributes a biostimulant called biolodestone that actively cleans these hydrocarbons. By deploying these technologies, we increase our customer revenue because we minimize disruptions to their operations, and we reduce customer costs because we stimulate natural processes to clean contaminated soil, reducing the cost of many remediation technologies. All the while, our soil sense technologies allow customers to comply with environmental regulations and transparently track ESG targets. Our solution is remarkably more carbon and water efficient, as well as it happens in situ, so it does not deplete aggregates. Our systems use about 95% less water and about 99% less greenhouse gas emissions compared to competing systems. As a result of this technology, we've had a tremendous strength, reaching $3 million in revenues in fiscal year 2022. And our aim is to reach 168 sites by 2026, all the while maintaining an 85% profit margin. I'm pleased to report that for fiscal year 2022, we are going to beat our target of 14 sites, perhaps by up to 20 sites in this year alone. Now, one of the reasons for our profitability and our ability to maintain these profit models is that at the very base, our technology is profitable. For a compliance solution at an active facility, at a typical large facility, will generate about $55,000 of free cash flow a year after costs, and a remediation solution generates about $34,000 of free cash flow for costs. So from its very base, our technology is profitable. And the reason for this is that we've built an integrated technology stack that combines the best of data analytics with biogeochemistry. And as a result, what we can do is we create this very unique and complementary product system that generates a unique database, currently in excess of about 15 million data points. And by 2026, we're generating 10 million data points per month, which allows us to provide our customers with enhanced predictive algorithms of what their hydrocarbons will do, how quickly they're going to remediate, as well as what sort of carbon flow is happening in their system. And when we differentiate ourselves from our competitors, many of our competitors have physical or chemical soil cleaning solutions or biotechnology soil cleaning solutions. EMS's solution is biotechnology based, but the real differentiator for us is our soil sense. This is a very unique and patented soil sensor that provides our customers with digital customer experience. And the way to think about it is our soil sense provides these environmental managers with the data they need to adopt agile management of their sites, and in so doing provides them data to make clean decisions going forward. If you're interested in talking more with EMS as we continue on with the raise, please reach out and I'd be happy to answer any questions now.
Okay, thanks, Stephen. Great job there. We just have only about a minute left, so we'll try this one. Can you tell us about some of your customer feedback that you've received comparing your in situ method to traditional remediation?
Sure. So the big benefit of our in situ method is it doesn't disturb ongoing facilities, but there is a disadvantage. If you want to clean your soil in a month, do not use this technology. This technology takes 3 to 5 years. So the operative word for our ideal customer is an active facility, or something, for example, you have a tenant at a location who's generating rent, but you need to clean to recover your property value, in which case our solution is really ideal. You need to turn over a large high-rise in downtown Vancouver in 2 months. Our technology is not your solution. And so our customers are very happy with, the other thing they're very happy with is that we have a very transparent data stream. We can tell them when things are working and when things aren't.
Okay, yeah, that's great. And then on the patent side of things, how tight are these patents going to be? Or do you think it's going to stifle competition to a strong degree?
We have a multiple layer of defense of our patent. So the first is our patent is really meant to preserve our freedom to operate. It patents our soil sense and our biolodestone. However, we've also have open disclosure, and because many of these solutions have been published, and as a result, it's going to be hard for someone to stop us to operate. And then we have our trade secrets, which is basically we're really good soil scientists. We know how to get this done. And we have this internal database, which at 10 million provides us with a competitive advantage that our competitors simply don't have. So our IP defense isn't really only based on the patent, but really based on that series of overlapping circles, which makes it more and more difficult for competitors to compete with us.
That's great. Thanks, Stephen. There'll be some other questions in the chat for you. Appreciate the chat. Good to see you put landfills out of business. Back to you.
That's my hope.
Yeah. Back to you, Uncle Jesse.
All right. Well, I'm not Jesse, but I'll take over here for a sec, and I'm going to introduce our next co-host. So our next one is Jamie Holt with Eco Canada. And then on the question side, we're switching out for Chris, and we're going with Hassan, one of our Saskatchewan ambassadors.
Thank you, Neil. Just a slight introduction to Eco Canada. We've been the steward for the Canadian environmental workforce for 30 years now. We help all industries across Canada with their green, sustainable initiatives. We're most known for our wage funding, but we also provide human resource solutions for small businesses. We do training programs to help increase core competencies throughout a business. And we have a national environmental seal called EP Employer. If anyone's interested, I'll put my contact information in the chat. Now I'd like to turn the time over to Ken Jackson from VeriGrain Sampling.
All right, now we're ready to go. Thank you. Let me back up a couple of slides here. All right, as introduced, my name is Ken Jackson. I'm the CEO of VeriGrain. So let's start off with a few facts here. Agriculture contributes to a number of significant environmental issues: carbon and methane production, fertilizer and pesticide residue, water usage. We've also got degradation and spoilage during grain storage. And on top of this, we've got this increasing consumer demand for, greater quantity and better quality of food. So it is absolutely crucial that we optimally utilize what we are growing. So VeriGrain is solving a corner of this problem, and that is that grain quality and quantity determination on farm is inaccurate and it's inefficient. And this results in growers getting suboptimal utilization of their inputs, lower prices, spoilage losses. Buyers and processors are dealing with inefficiencies and additional costs. And there's also limited or poor data for things like traceability, carbon, and sustainability. So VeriGrain has developed a product which replaces a manual random process with one which is digital and automated. So we've created this grain bridge, or grain information bridge between the grower and the buyer. And it starts with a digital record that the grower creates on their smartphone. They follow it up with representative samples. They do appropriate sample management so that when the samples are analyzed, they're accurate and the information can be trusted. And ultimately, the grain that gets delivered meets the specification everyone's expecting. So VeriGrain provides accurate, real-time stored grain quality and quantity data, allows users to optimize their inputs utilization, get maximum prices, and stop spoilage. Buyers and processors get 2-spec deliveries, they operate more efficiently, and they've got traceability. So ultimately, we're getting a greater quantity and better quality of food to the consumer. So we estimate there's a $225 million annual recurring revenue total addressable market in Canada and the United States. Our go-to-market gives us broad and rapid deployment so we can establish VeriGrain as a new industry standard. Our competition primarily consists of pretty basic sampling products, and no one is addressing the data issue. So we've got a pretty broad experienced or pretty broad management team with a lot of experience and rapid growth and in exits. And we are building momentum quite rapidly with the company. We had over 50 growers doing pilots last year very successfully. We're forecasting $1.3 million in revenue to get going this year. Some pretty substantial intellectual property. The product is readily scalable, as produced before, very capable management. And we just won a prestigious AE50 Best Product Award for 2022. Lastly, AgWest Biotech is leading a $2.4 million raise for us, which we would be happy to have this group participate in or do something parallel to. So I will leave my contact information in the chat room, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Thanks a lot, Ken. My name is Hassan. I'm an ambassador for Startup TNT down here in Regina. Great presentation, and congratulations on all the success you've had so far. Sounds like you got a solid team there, obviously post revenue. I think I may have missed it on your slides. Did you say you have no competitors in this space?
Well, the only competitors there's some kind of rudimentary hard pieces of hardware for sampling, and they are pretty basic. The difference that we make is we actually have a tool within our app that assists someone using even something as simple as a sort of the ubiquitous scoop on a stick for sampling to do a better job. And we also have right up to fully automated sampling equipment. So we cover the full spectrum of sort of sampling products, and representative samples are just so crucial to what we're trying to achieve here.
Okay, I see. And going to the chat here, one of the questions that's come up. Can you please just expand a little more on the Cleantech angle? Is it mostly the reduction of the spoilage of the grains?
Well, no, that's part of it. I guess the Cleantech angle is, it's really, we invest all of these inputs in growing grain, and often the grain is not utilized for optimal purposes, or it spoils. And so what we're doing is ensuring that what gets grown actually gets used. So I guess it's really a sort of from an efficiency angle as far as Cleantech is concerned.
I see. It's more of a holistic approach over the whole space as opposed to just one particular aspect.
Exactly. Yeah. It's ensuring that what gets grown gets used.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's a great pitch. I'm glad to hear you guys are succeeding really well. And well, thanks very much.
Great. Thank you.
And back over to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Hassan. Next, we'll hear from Christopher Moreno from LightLeaf Solar.
Christopher, you got us. I don't know if you're on mute or something like that. Just want to check in.
There we go. Everybody ready?
Absolutely.
We don't see your screen yet.
Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Nope.
Let's try one more time.
Hey, there we go.
How's that?
I don't see the presenter view. I see it with your notes underneath it, just so you know.
Swap screens. Let's try this one more time. Now are we happy?
Nope, I'm still seeing the slides with your notes underneath.
Odd. Okay, hold on. Try this one other way.
You know what they say, third time's the charm, so we'll get her.
We had it all set. We tested it yesterday.
That's right.
Okay, keynote, screen share, go to play. How's that?
Still seeing your presenter mode with your notes underneath.
And when I swap screens, it still does it?
Yeah, it doesn't swap on our end.
How odd. Okay. You know what? I will stop sharing for a second because we did this yesterday, and I will pull up the old-fashioned PDF version.
Ooh, all right. This is why it's important to have a backup plan. Good job, Chris.
Always trying, always trying.
And if this doesn't work, we can, I think we have your deck here too, we can share, but I think the PDF will probably work. We can come back to you later too, but.
That's all right, here it is. Let's go full screen there. And then come over here.
So it's the nerve-wracking part, and it's totally understandable.
No, that's all right. If the technology wasn't giving me a little bit of grief, then I'm not sure that I would really be happy, would I?
That's
you got our full and complete attention now.
All right, so let's see if we go to full screen. Does it do full screen now?
Yeah, we're good.
Yay. All right, well, we are LightLeaf Solar, energy that moves you. Existing solar panels, everybody wants solar, but square traditional panels don't really fit on things that move. And flexible panels that get pasted on are unreliable, brittle, and have very short life expectancies. We have unique technology that combines composite carbon fiber with photovoltaic cells to generate power. They're extremely lightweight, rigid and strong, rugged. They're built into our customers' products. They are low energy with recyclable materials, and we have a patent application on the process. To give you an idea of what this looks like, this is some of our product in action. It's curved and customized to fit on the back of trailers. It's sculpted to fit on marine. And in some cases, we even build giant flat panels that go on the roofs of RVs. But remember, this is carbon fiber. This is not brittle glass. The company has succeeded in penetrating its first market in the recreation space. And right now, renewable energy is worth $722 billion. But in Canada, just the solar market is worth over $12 billion. And from our location in Saskatchewan, we can reach over 1.13 billion in sales, looking at the recreation market, expanding into marine, and ultimately into transportation. Last year, we focused right in the recreation space. We've just launched our marine product, and we actually have negotiations going on for a new patent pending product that would decrease fuel emissions and increase range in the transportation sector. Our financial projections, we expect to more than double revenue this year, taking us close to $500,000. Double again next year with confirmed sales by the end of this year, and then growing into the transportation market to 2025. We are profitable, and as you can see, our headcount grows from about 7 to almost 20 over the course of the next 12 to 14 months. Right now, we're looking to raise $650,000 in equity funding on a $4 million valuation. We're matching those funds with non-dilutive options, including debt and grants, and we are STSI qualified. And a quick bit about us, our founder, Rick Retzlaff, engineer, designer, teacher, entrepreneur, and builder, co-founder. Many of you know Katrina German, award-winning entrepreneur and tech expert, and I'm Christopher Moreno, a serial entrepreneur and angel investor with a number of successful exits and a lot of experience growing companies from seed through to exit. That's us, LightLeaf Solar, power that moves you.
Awesome, Chris. Great to meet you, and nice presentation. Even with the rough start, you persevered through, so that's great to see. We do want to maybe just stick to maybe one question just to kind of keep ourselves on track. So just going to the chat here, I'll just pick one here. Can you give us a cost comparison between the panels you have and the regular panels with glass?
Yeah, actually, you know what, Rick, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I'm sure I can take that. This is Rick Retzlaff here, co-founder. The two things are very different animal. The type of panel you put on your roof is very different than the type of panel that you're going to, and there's much more value added to solar panels on a vehicle or an.
Hey, Rick, we're having some difficulty hearing you. I don't know if we want to swap back over to Chris to answer this.
Yeah, Chris, are you able?
Yeah, I'll jump in.
And lightweight we go.
Right now, a standard panel from us costs anywhere between $700 and $1,000. The premium for the solar puts it a little bit over that. We're about double the cost, or just a little under double the cost of a traditional flat square solar panel that kicks out between 100 and 200 watts. However, because we're carbon fiber, we have a life expectancy that's almost quadruple what you would get out of a glass panel. And nobody else can do what we do. We're the only company in the world right now fitting curved carbon fiber-based panels into the backs of trailers and onto boats.
That's great. It's a really novel idea. I love it. I got solar panels in my house, so this is definitely something I'm interested in. Lots of more questions in the chat, so keep your eye on that. And Jamie, back to you for the next one.
Actually, I think
I'm sorry. We're switching.
Yeah, that's right. We're saying goodbye to Jamie, and we are going to switch it up a little bit. So Jesse, now that we're at the halfway point here, what are you thinking of the pitches so far?
Wow, they are incredible pitches. Yeah, there's been a few hiccups along the way, but our founders are showing how tenacious and resilient they are, and just moving right on through, getting those pitches out, doing an incredible job. I know the viewing party here, everyone is super into it. People are taking notes. They're like, they can't wait to get into the DD on these companies. And you can tell even from the chat, the audience here today is so engaged. I'd love to see it. Cleantech is hot and up and coming here on the prairies, and we love to see it here at Startup TNT. So yeah, Neil, why don't you introduce our next co-host as we head into the back half of our pitches.
That's right. All right. So next up, we are having our friends at Amy, world-renowned in Edmonton. Mr. Russ Erickson is going to be co-hosting, and Hassan is still a question guy for the next little while. So we'll let you guys take it away. Go ahead, Russ.
Thanks, Neil, very much. I have to agree with Jesse. What a great set of pitches. It's been a lot of fun to watch these so far this year, or so far this evening. So Amy, the Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute, we're based in Edmonton. As Neil indicated, we support the advancing of the state-of-the-art in AI in the world. We've been ranked as the #3 AI research institute in the world. Why should any of you care? Well, that's not the only thing we do is advance the state of the art. We are nurturing, we're growing the next generation of AI talent that people like you probably need to bring into your businesses at some point. So we're really helping to set us up here in Western Canada to succeed using the most advanced AI in the world. We help companies apply all of that advanced research and that expertise to real world problems. We help mentor, and we help with deep tech startups in terms of mentoring CTOs, helping them build out their tech, and we help companies build their AI teams. That's kind of what we do on a day-to-day basis as well on the commercial side. So enough about Amy. I will put our information on there and move directly into Roshan Water Systems. Amir Sorabi talking about addressing a really big world problem, safe water. So Amir, take it away.
Right, thank you for the introduction. My name is Amir, co-founder and CEO of Roshan Water. Let's see if this works. There we go. Globally, every day, 700 children die because of drinking that's contaminated. Our co-founder, Paramis, could have been one of them actually when she got seriously sick at the age of 3. So while these stats mostly come from regions with little or no water infrastructure, in North America, we have a huge problem with failing infrastructure. In North America, we have 20,000 municipalities where on average, they experience 200,000 water main breaks every year. That is one break every 2 minutes. It takes 6 to 8 hours to fix the break, but it usually takes 2 to 3 days for residents to get their water back. Collectively, this is at least 400,000 days in 1 year that people across North America are without clean running water. But why is there a huge delay between the repair and getting the water back at our taps? This process heavily relies on testing water samples for bacteria to make sure the water is safe for consumption. The challenge is these tests are inaccessible for many regions because they need central labs to perform them. They are slow with turnaround times of about 1 to 3 days. And usually the results are communicated in an email as a PDF attached. So there is no way to see the historical trends and pinpoint areas with actual problems. Our vision is to create a global map of test trends with real-time data. This is done by our portable device that makes testing accessible and convenient for anyone, anywhere. Our patented cartridges test water samples only in 1 hour and provide results in real time. And finally, the combination of our mobile web app, our cloud data center, tracks the location of each sample to create a map with the results on it. Our go-to-market strategy is focused on the North American market, on providing on-demand and more frequent testing to our users. Our 4-year projected adoption is $10 million, which is part of the North American market share of about $254 million. And the global market for such technologies is estimated at around $2.1 billion. We have already secured 7 agreements for paid demonstrations here in Alberta. We are focused on 4 key target markets, as you can see them here. However, majority of our end users right now are coming from the municipalities, and we have already created a price point strategy for them that falls in their OPEX and not their CAPEX. That's why we can shorten the sales cycles for these municipalities. Of course, there are competitors out there already serving our market, but our product, which we call it VeloSense, is the only product that offers accessible tests with strategies already implemented to provide historical trends. And most importantly, it's the only one that provides results rapidly, regardless of the bacteria concentration. Our business model is a razor blade business model. So it starts with a one-time purchase of the device. The recurring revenue comes from the sale of our test kits. We also have a recurring revenue from the subscription of our users to our historical trend management system. We are projecting a revenue growth from $300,000 in this year to $5.8 million in 2025, with 2 major milestones in here. The first milestone is increasing our customer base from 50 in this year to 1,100 by 2025. And the second milestone is starting the US EPA approval process for our test method, which is projected with a projected end date of 2025. I have to mention that we do not need the US EPA approval to sell the product, but the US EPA approval simply will boost our recurring revenue by 5 times. We have a dedicated team of people that believe in our company's vision. The founders of the company have a combined 20 years of experience in water and wastewater industry, and we have surrounded ourselves with people with deep knowledge in business and corporate development, as well as anything coding related and software development. Right now, we are raising our pre-seed round valued at $500,000 on a pre-money valuation of $2.5 million. And this raise will extend our runway by 12 months and will help us to acquire our first 50 customers by enabling us to make 50 products, to do our marketing and sales activities, such as trade shows we are attending, and also bringing on board new people to strengthen our marketing and sales department. If you believe in our vision and want to help us to get there, let's reach out and let's have a conversation. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Amr. Great presentation. With a little bit over time, so we're going to be a little quick on the questions here. Just can you talk a little bit more about the feedback you're getting from the demonstrations that have happened?
Of course. So the feedback that we are getting, basically we have been with these demonstration slots for 2 years almost now, many times, and they actually love the product, and we are anticipating 80% of them at least turn into actual customers when the demonstration is over.
Okay, that's great. Love to ask more questions, but we'll have to kind of end it here. Thanks for the chat and the pitch. Look at the questions in the chat on the side, and Russ, back to you for the next one.
Thanks, Hassan. Next up, talking about how they can enable real-time plant tissue and soil nutrient analysis for producers, really appealing to my farm kid self. Xavier Hebert-Couturier, from Picketa Systems.
Thank you, Russ, for the introduction. I'm Xavier Hebert-Couturier from Picketa Systems, where we're trying to make plant nutrient testing efficient and sustainable for farmers at scale. So we met a year and a half ago as a capstone engineering project, and we met at my co-founder Dominic's home, which just happened to be his family farm. And we realized, hey, we have this resource, a common background. Let's look what we can do to help farmers out to become more sustainable while also making them more profitable. So the problem we really honed in on is fertilizer management. Right now, it's complex, interconnected problem, which is impossible to get right with current tools. You can imagine being a farmer of multi-thousand acre farm. You have staff, weather conditions, inputs to consider, and applying the right amount of the right product at the right place at the right time is a complex interconnected problem that right now there's not the equipment to deal with. So we think fertilizer mismanagement is caused by fertilizer misinformation because the current solutions aren't giving good enough data to be able to make informed decisions. So right now the current solutions are lab testing and aerial monitoring, both of which don't give enough data fast enough for growers to effectively manage their fertilizer in a precise manner. Right now, standard practices leave around $200 per acre in the field, difference between managing your fertilizers well and the industry standard right now. And lastly, fertilizers are terrible for the environment. They contribute to 10% of the greenhouse gases in agriculture, which is 10% overall of the overall greenhouse gas emissions. They pollute waterways and create a dependence on synthetic fertilizers, which you need to use more and more because they kill your soil, leading you to a dependence where you always need to add more and more synthetic fertilizers. So we want to fit into the farmer's workflow, not add any work, just add more information. It's always been the case that farmers or ag professionals send out scouts to look into their field, but intuition is biased and it doesn't really give you good information to go off of, which results in lower profits. The first solution, the widespread solution out there, is testing labs, which can give really detailed information, but the turnaround time is 3 to 10 days. You need to have the physical process of taking a physical sample of the plant into a bag, shipping it from across the country to Ontario, and then waiting 3 to 10 days, oftentimes longer than that. This is too long and you can't fix deficiencies in time. The other solution is aerial monitoring, which can give good insights on how green your leaves are, how much ground are you covering, is there any pests? But on plant nutrients, it takes up to 1 week's latency to see if you have any deficiencies. Yet again, that's too long to wait for this crucial part of your operation. What we want to do is to shift this whole time frame from weeks to seconds and be able to give you information in real time to make the best decisions possible. How we do this? We're developing a hardware scanner that you can add to your tool belt when you're in your field scouting, be able to scan your crops, pair with the mobile app and third-party data like satellite and weather, and give integrated results on what's the best course of action to manage your operations. So this is just a look at our platform we're building, showing trends over time. This is real data we collected last year with 9 paid data collection pilots. So we believe that we stand out because we reduce analysis turnaround time, giving detailed information on each nutrient, and we can do better analysis than software-only platforms with the nutrient stages all along a crop's growth. So we're building valuable intellectual property with this, including algorithms, software, it's extensive databases, and also patentable hardware and processes. Our team has 20 years of farming experience. Like I mentioned, our CTO is a 5th-generation potato farmer. Max grew up on a dairy farm. We've managed $5 million engineering projects in the past. So far we've been able to get our first crop going, which is potatoes. We've partnered with the National Institute of Optics to build our MVP. We're offering a same-day sampling service, which is a semi-manual while we're building the handheld to growers in northwestern New Brunswick and PI this year. We're looking to quickly expand across North American potatoes, going to new crops and new capabilities. So the next step is to really demonstrate the value to farmers with the same day service, build the minimal scalable viable product and scale
Xavier, sorry to interrupt. We're at the 4:30 minute mark. So can you quickly close it up?
Yeah, this was my last slide.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, perfect. Great pitch. Thanks for that. And so I just want to get into, in terms of obtaining the data, it looks like, is it like a spot check in the field? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so we need to be just above the leaf and we can do the analysis. It's an electronic non-destructive process that just takes a couple seconds on top of the leaf.
And so for a field, how many samples would you have to take in that field?
Yeah, right now growers are ordering 1 sample for like a whole entire section of the farm, since it's $50 per sample and it's a huge process. Right now we're offering half that price and doing those samples and increasing the volume. With the handheld, we charge a subscription model and you can take as many samples as you want. More data, better results.
Okay, great. Well, very interesting. Hopefully we can answer some of the questions that are in the chat. Thanks very much.
Absolutely. Thank
And
you.
Jesse or Neil, I think it's back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, super interesting again. So just to keep things clipping along here, our next co-host he lives in Toronto, but his company Avatar Innovations is doing some really cool stuff in the prairies. So Mr. Brian Trudell is going to be co-hosting, and Mike Wolfsbild, another Saskatchewan ambassador, is going to be asking some questions. With that, it's over to you, Brian.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Neil. Nice to see everybody. Yeah, Brian Trudell, CFO, co-founder of Avatar Innovations. We're a corporate innovation partner, really working with the oil and gas industry on innovation. Our customers include names such as Suncor, Cenovus, TC, Enbridge, Fluor, and Spartan Controls, which is one of the gentlemen here with us today. So we're kind of a venture studio, essentially, acting as a safe third place for innovation within the energy industry. We've only been around for a year and a half, but we're getting some good traction here. And we're basically allowing this innovation within the space for the energy industry. And so it's been a great run. And we figured working with the professionals inside the industry is a great place to start to look for great ideas. We're also on the verge of launching a fund. Later this year, we plan on launching a fund to focus on the pre-seed and seed stage level. We've had a couple of investors here talk earlier about wanting to be, Series A and above, and I'm sure most of the people here recognize that there is a gap at that pre-seed seed stage fund. So we do intend to go and raise some capital for that, mostly to fund our internal ecosystem, the companies that we help create. But we'll see how that goes in time. So first company up is one of our teams from last year. Actually, the next two are both for Avatar alumni. A man with a voice for radio. It's a pleasure to introduce Matt Shocking from CO2Thermal, and he'll tell us how his company plans to improve the economics of geothermal, which has been a big challenge for Canada. Over to you, Matt.
Thanks a lot, Brian. Welcome to our presentation for CO2Thermal Innovations. We stand at a precipice, faced with unprecedented challenges, existential threats to the status quo of our industry, and a staggering cost of inaction. We're inspired to rise to this challenge and see generational opportunity in energy transition. Carbon capture, utilization, and storage is a massively important technology, without which there is no pathway to net zero. Innovation and new technologies will have a key role to play in the rapid scaling up of CCUS here in Canada and around the world. CCS projects are challenged by high upfront capital costs and marginal economics due to their high cost of carbon capture, transport, and compression. By the time CO2 has been stored and is eligible to claim capture credits, operating costs can roughly equal the credits available for carbon storage for the next several years, which leaves sparingly little margin for smaller companies to participate. Finally, approximately 1/3 of the operating cost of CCS is the energy required for compression. Geothermal power plants have also been challenged by high upfront capital costs and lengthy payback periods. They can produce electricity from low-grade heat, but with an abundance of cheap natural gas, this hasn't historically made sense. More expensive commodity prices can support the business case for geothermal, but probably not far enough. So why is our hybrid model greater than the sum of its parts? As we look forward, the conditions for success are changing for two main reasons. There's an increasing price of carbon, and we will have increasing demand for energy as we recharge millions of batteries for EVs, make clean hydrogen for heavy freight, and compress millions of tons of CO2 for permanent storage. This changes the game for geothermal. Our solution is as follows. Captured CO2 from industry is injected into a reservoir. However, rather than simply storing CO2 underground, we will utilize it. Our CO2-based working fluid is geothermally heated as it migrates through the reservoir. Electricity produced from the clean geothermal heat is generated at a surface facility. Our financial model shows that this produced electricity may be used for compression, reducing the energy intensity of CCS, or as a new independent revenue stream. Our CO2-based process is 2 to 3 times more efficient when compared with conventional geothermal working fluids. Our approach is modular and can be readily adapted and upgraded in future to meet the needs and opportunities of a given reservoir. We're talking about lowering the cost of the single largest capital spend that Canada's energy industry will be spending money on for the next 30 years, and we find that incredibly exciting. The figure on the right represents the wide variety of CO2 emitters in Alberta. The larger the dot, the larger their annual CO2 emissions. As we observe the overlaid geothermal heat map for Alberta, we take note of the orange and red regions along the foothills. These are ideal targets for our technology and encompass over 110 megatons of CO2 emitted annually, primarily comprised of smaller emitters. Our technology will provide scalable value for these customers, accelerating our pathway to net zero together. With our clear path to market, we have partnerships backed by multiple MOUs and industry traction. We are seeking pre-seed funding for up to $775,000 to work towards our pilot scale design. At CO2Thermal Innovations, we are a diverse team of leaders with a transformational, innovative vision to accelerate the adoption of crucial sustainable energy technologies. Behavioral change will not be enough to meet our net zero goals. CCUS is an essential technology to address the CO2 that we emit, and CO-Thermal will provide a complementary technology to reduce the energy intensity of CCUS, accelerating this critical pathway to net zero.
All right, great pitch, Matt. It's Mike here. I'm a TNT ambassador here based in Saskatoon. A couple questions for you. I'm wondering about moats. Is any of the core technology patented or patentable?
Yes, there are patents in the geothermal space that are public knowledge, and we're working to file patents on what is our secret sauce. Freedom to operate is something that we carefully consider and will be part of our path forward.
Sounds good. I'm wondering if you could go in a bit more detail around the business model and the economics of this. Who's the customer and how are they paying?
Right. So our first customer won't be a large vertically integrated producer that has everything from capture straight through to their from capture through to storage. It'll be something along the lines of a smaller integrated hub where we will partner with a CCS storage facility operator and provide a value add with a technology that will produce power and offset their energy intensity. We've had several conversations with folks who are expecting to operate in this space, and we've been told by them that their greatest pain is in trying to optimize ways to reduce their operating cost. This allows them to become profitable sooner with a rising price of carbon, and access to market sooner for them is something that's game breaking and allows them to potentially access the market and become operational sooner.
Awesome. Sounds great. I think I'm going to pass back to Brian for the next pitch.
That's great. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Matt. Next up is Ashley Kingsbury from GeoConnect, CEO of GeoConnect, another one of the Avatar companies from last year. Ashley's been one of the most impressive persons I've worked with in the last 12 to 18 months. And she's got a great technology and approach and business model to helping reduce the carbon intensity of buildings and their operations. Ashley, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. And yes, I get to follow the voice, and I knew that going in. So very excited to present today to you. So with the world racing to a net zero, how do we solve the problem of housing affordability while providing emissions-free heating and cooling? Imagine if we could provide a solution that would support net zero by using the ground beneath you. Heating and cooling a home with fossil fuels is no longer an option in many Canadian cities. In some cities, as soon as next year, it will be illegal to replace an existing furnace with any sort of system that relies on fossil fuels. With heating a building being such a significant source of emissions, this challenge must be addressed to meet our net zero goals. But homeowners cannot afford to pay a 20 to 30% premium. GeoExchange is a time-tested technology that relies on drilling boreholes beneath the surface, installing ground loops, and circulating the heat available from the earth throughout the building. GeoExchange can replace both gas-fired furnaces and air conditioning. GeoConnect provides a one-stop shop. We design, drill, install, and maintain our systems at no upfront cost to you. Our model has been validated through the Avatar Innovations process, and over the course of this last year, we've had many conversations with developers and banks to ensure we have an attractive product. Our pilot project is to be in service of August of 2022. We're just out there. We're already being recognized in the industry based on our professional approach, expertise, and partnerships. Since our incorporation that just happened in December of 2021, our project pipeline has increased from 20 million to 50 million without making a single cold call. That's right, every single one of our clients is a referral. We project that by 2026, we'll have over $100 million of projects in the ground, at which point we'll be able to enter the green bond market. We have partnered with our bank to create a pathway to this green bond. By using 30-year agreements, we are competitive with current gas prices. This revenue model shows our ability to stack each project and grow by leveraging these long-term recurring revenues. Each system is developed to have an ROI of 7 to 9 years. We are seeking $1 million in seed funding to support the first year of operations to cover our startup costs, engineering, and allowing us to position ourselves to scale to that next level. We've already raised $100,000 of private capital and are currently negotiating contracts with some lead investors. We are a woman-owned and led company. Our team has drilled over 250 wells. We're proficient in project management, and in a largely untapped market, GeoConnect is designed to be scalable and repeatable. The industry is rapidly growing, and we are primed to be a leading provider of green energy. Thank you. Okay, I'm ready for questions, Mike, if you are ready for them.
All right, thanks, Ashley. Great pitch. Quick question here. First question. Curious about differentiation. What makes your solution different from the competition or the existing alternatives in the market?
Yeah, so that's a really, really great point. What our team is we're bringing that oil and gas expertise into this market. So our team is combined of a geologist, engineer, and myself, which is a supply chain expert. So bringing that technology and expertise from that oil and gas industry into the geo-exchange market. Here's a really good example. Our geologist went to a seminar, and they were talking about this novel technology in geo-exchange, and it's using slant drilling. And she's like, we've been using that for my entire career. That's not novel. That's just a different application of that technology. So it's really around where our moat is. And then the last piece that we're really focusing on is the monitoring of the system in the long term. So making sure that we're able to just monitor the success of those boreholes. So a lot of times these systems will be installed, and then there's nobody to monitor that long-term system. Oh, did I just freeze? Did Mike just freeze?
Nope, maybe Mike.
I think we might have just lost Mike.
Oh,
no. Great.
Yeah.
Well, I think
I'm back. I'm back. One. I'll just toss it back.
Sorry, Brian.
Hey, Ashley, there's a question in the chat, and Julie responded, but maybe just for everybody else's interest. The question was about how do they work in cold temperatures? How does the heating system work throughout the seasons, basically?
Yeah, that's a great one. So they do work really, really well, and they work without any supplemental heat. So because really the system, it's kind of like, you think of how a battery kind of works, right? And so it replenishes itself in the really cold temperatures. So some people might actually hear of an air-to-air heat pump. Those work great in milder temperatures, but they don't have the ability to support our minus like 20, 40, whatever we get to in Alberta, as well as handle the other side, which is the higher temperatures. So, yeah.
Great. Thanks, Ashley.
Yeah.
All right, last one for me is Rebecca Goldsack from Diesel Tech Industries. This is a bit of an established company. They've been around for a while, but they're working on some new technologies focused on, I'll call it, energy transition. Rebecca, nice to meet you. Over to you.
I guess I should unmute myself. All right. So thanks for the introduction. Yeah, as he said, my name is Rebecca Goldsack, and I'm COO at Diesel Tech Industries. DTI has been around for over 20 years. We're based out of Edmonton, Alberta. We have an in-house multidisciplinary engineering team comprised of Darren Hervé, our CEO, who's also a journeyman heavy-duty technician with over 40 years experience, Ben Montezeros, who's our lead engineer with over 20 years, and myself, who grew up in the industry, but I have both the knowledge of the business side, but as well as the technical side as well. The Guardian E-Log and Guardian E-Pass have been developed to the Transport Canada mandates. With over 15,000 units sold around the world, we have an extensive knowledge of working with regulatory bodies as well as dealer networks. We hold several patents on our technology, and we also have sold our products to companies like CSA as well as Terex, and Daimler. All of our products are rooted in driving innovative technology for the transportation industry. They're all based on taking engine data, interpreting it, and providing an action, such as closing a valve to prevent an explosion with our Guardian ePass. Talking about the problem that we're facing today. So the trucking industries has a significant problem. At the top of the list is the regulatory requirements to lower emissions, such as CO2, NOx and SOx, as well as particulate matters. Fleets must also ensure that their existing fleet's capital is being optimized before looking at replacing or both the engine or the truck. By meeting these challenges, it will help the fleet operators with the energy transition and ensure that they are competitive to meet that 2050 net zero target that the Canadian government has put into place. Now, why we're all here today, we want to introduce you to the Guardian Hydrogen Diesel System, or H2DFs for short. It takes an existing engine going down the way, adds a retrofit so that it can run on hydrogen. Right now we have a 20% efficiency, but through AI development, we will increase that all the way up to 80%. This will all be done through a tiered approach. There are millions of diesel engines, both driving down the highway, as well as light towers and a generator. This product will work towards meeting that goal. Some of the key points about this product is it reports the emissions to make sure that we have quantifiable data, making sure it's cost effective for fleets, as well as reducing emissions of your NOx and SOxes by over 50%. While this is a new product, it is built on a solid foundation from all of our other technologies, and that's why we've made it so scalable. We are working with the AMTA, Hydrogen Hub, Alberta Innovates, ERA, and U of A, just to name a few. Anyone can put hydrogen into a diesel engine, we just do it intelligently. We are looking for the right investor to come on to play with us and make that partnership so that we can get this on as many trucks as possible and bring this into the market by late 2022. We look forward to showing you more about our technology.
All right, thanks, Rebecca. Great pitch. Questions here. First question is, what does the competitive market look like for this here in Canada and abroad?
So there's millions of vehicles, diesel engines specifically, that are on the market. So we're mainly targeting engines that are 5 years and newer, just because the life expectancy of an engine, there's no real purpose on putting it on something that's a lot older. But from our calculations, there's over 1 million to 1.5 million vehicles, and as well as stationary equipment that need and could use this.
All right, cool. And how far along is the R&D on this? Is this in trucks, in customers' hands right now? Are you still testing? Where's that at?
So right now we're at a 20% efficiency, and that's why we're doing it on a tiered approach. So we actually have an engine and a chassis dyno in our facility, as well as we're using the University of Alberta's diagnostic systems that they have. So right now we can install this in a truck. It's good to go on the 20%, but what we're really working towards is getting that efficiency up and making it all the way up to an 80% efficiency using the existing engines so that we don't have to retrofit, or so that we can retrofit anything.
Awesome. Thanks, Rebecca. And I think that's our time. So I'm just going to toss it back to Brian.
I think it's over to you, Jesse or Neil.
I think Brian's throwing it back to me here, actually. And we're moving on to our next section. Thank you very much, Brian and Mike, for that great co-hosting of that set of pitches. And thanks you to all our founders who pitched in that last block. We're heading into the home stretch here, and I'm pleased to introduce our next co-host and Q&A participant, Q&A presenter. We've got Distributed Energy Association of Saskatchewan Director Erwin Hewick here to co-host the next block, and the co-founder of Startup TNT, Zach Storms, is going to be doing the Q&A. So I'll let Erwin introduce himself and lead us into our next block of pitches.
Thank you, Jesse. It's such a pleasure to be here. I am the CEO and founder of the Distributed Energy Association of Saskatchewan. And I created the association a little over 2 years ago, really to provide a venue for clean technology providers here, working with industry, working with commercial businesses, and working with communities, really to provide clean energy solutions. And really moving away from the sort of utility scale traditional set of energy solutions that have been provided here. So I am a big supporter of energy transition through distributed energy. And I'm happy to say that I've grown the association here, not just to showcase the technology providers working in that space, but I've got community members and academia members with Parkland College and the university. And so really it's about collaboration and getting all these great ideas deployed at the industrial, commercial, and community level. So very exciting space to be working in, and I'm just blown away by the quality of the ideas and the passion that I'm seeing here. The first presenter here is James Chepia, I hope I got that right, with Quantum Silicon. And Quantum Silicon designs and develops quantum-based application-specific integrated circuits that addresses the world's need for next generation ultra-low power, high-speed computing. So with that, I'll turn it over to James.
Thanks, Edwin. Hi, everyone. My name is James Chepia, and I am super excited to be coming to you from inside this computer to tell you the Quantum Silicon story. This is something that is going to be a little different, but let's go with it. QSI is actually a world leader in quantum-enabled computer processing. Each of these little dots that you see near me is actually a quantum dot. These are cups that we have made by removing single hydrogen atoms that were attached to a silicon surface. Every 2 dots represents a replacement for a transistor. So if you think about that, we made a transistor using nothing more than silicon and hydrogen. No rare earths, no nothing. But what does it actually mean? Well, it means that our our technology operates extremely fast. So 100 times faster than today's technology. It uses almost no energy. We use less than 1% of the computing processing energy of today's technology. It generates no heat. And because it's actually in silicon, it is fully compatible with today's technology. So we're not going to strand any of existing technology. How do we do this? Well, we're in the Guinness World Book of Records for creating the sharpest man-made instrument. We created a tool that's 1 atom at the tip. That enables us to do true atomic scale manufacturing. And yes, that tool can be used for things outside of what we actually use it for. But why are we doing this? Well, because we actually kind of like the planet that we're on, and our technology is killing us. Give you a sense of what I mean by that. Our technology is third only to the electricity consumed by China and the US. And it's getting worse. We have arguably 15 billion connected devices today, heading within 10 years by the industry's projection to 1 trillion connected devices. Basically a death by a trillion cuts. Each of those devices requires energy. And if you do a little research and you take a look at the industry association's own projections, our technology would use all the world's energy by 2034, nothing else. QSI's technology, on the other hand, reduces that energy consumption by greater than 99%. QSI controls all the IP associated with this technology. We control patents over the devices, we control patents over means of manufacture, we control patents between the connections between the atomic and the macro worlds. Basically, I look at this way. We patented the house, we patented every design of the house, we patented all the tools associated with making the house, and by the way, we patented the sidewalk to let you get into your house. We control everything associated with the technology. We've created proofs of concepts on multiple devices And we're actually in prototyping of a number of different devices, one of which is a quantum random number generator that would enable security over the devices that we're actually operating. They can't be hacked if they're using our technology. That one market alone that we're attacking is over a $7 billion market, and we have multiple products in development. We have an absolute world-class team, which you can tell. They made these things. And it's pretty cool to be able to say, I'm working with a CTO that came out of Bell Labs, which actually gave us the transistor, which allows us to have this technology. QSI provides us a path to next generation computing.
James, you're at about 3.5 minutes, just FYI.
Okay, thank you, because we're just basically done. This changes everything. We are actually changing the world, going from transistor technology to quantum technology. Hope you can join us on this journey.
Okay, tell us about where you're at on the journey, James. Do you have any partnerships in place? Where are you at? How soon is this thing going to be in market?
So we're in prototype right now. We expect to have that ready for commercialization by the end of the year.
Okay, are you working with any key partners?
Yes, we are working with key partners, including the likes of Texas Instruments.
Texas Instruments, pretty big name to drop casually in a conversation like this. Pretty impressive.
What can I say? They're fun.
30 seconds left. Maybe let's squeeze in 2 questions. What are the competitors? What are the big semiconductor companies doing? How are they approaching the problem?
My view is that they'll go the way of Kodak and so forth. They're really focused at the top of the S curve, and they're focused on next generation of their own. But if you take a look at Intel, for instance, they're on the 14th year of the i7 chip. So tells you where they're at.
Okay. And you're just fundamentally approaching it with a different problem. Who do you think
just approaching it a different way.
Who do you think is going to buy your company?
Do we have to be sold? Can't we just grow it to something
you don't have to be sold. What are you going to do? What's the plan? Good answer.
Somebody's going to put in an offer. We don't know. There's multiple paths to exit that we've identified on this.
Okay, listen, we're just over time, James. Really, really cool technology. Welcome. Great to have you here, and great presentation. Hope you can join us at Campio after.
Absolutely. We'll see you down there.
Okay, Erwin, back to you. Who's up next for us?
Thanks, Zach. Up next is Clint Dietz with Hydrodine Catalytics, and they provide a system solution for gas producers who want to materially reduce methane emissions at their remote gas well sites. So I'll turn it over to you, Clint.
Hey, great, Erwin. Thank you very much for that introduction. Just to, let's make sure that this works. Come on now. Just to be compliant, Western Canadian gas producers will spend $7 billion on methane emissions reduction at over 350,000 wells. By using Hydrodine at only 5% of these wells, producers could save $300 million. Hello, my name is Clint Dietz, CEO and co-founder of Hydrodine. In the current system, raw natural gas is burned in a catalytic heater and used as a pneumatic source. It's costly and it emits methane. This system does not meet today's regulatory requirements. Hydrodine has a solution. We remove the catalytic heater and replace it with our solution that is easily integrated. In our system, hydrogen peroxide passes over a catalyst to produce steam that we convert to heat. A fuel cell provides up to 1 kilowatt of power to run the electrics. We have patents pending and trade secrets. This 3D model shows how the Hydrodine system fits into a typical separator shed. As we retrofit out an existing shed or build a new shed, our system gives a full suite of benefits. On the other hand, WestGen's unit still burns raw natural gas and emits greenhouse gas emissions, and it has 4 times the cost of our system. We're currently mobilizing to a Synovus operating site. we expect to do additional trials, field trials at three other producers. As a result of recently won grant funding, Hydrodine will be manufacturing and installing commercial units in Q4 2022. Although our chosen target market is 460 million, the Hydrodine system is a platform technology with a global market of 25 billion. Our business model is B2B sales, where we utilize efficient contract manufacturing and our lead investor sales channels to sell directly to producers. This is sustained by multiple recurring revenue streams. Hydrodine expects to grow to 38 million by 2028, achieving profitability in 2024. Our ask is $500,000. This will give us a one-year runway aimed at full commercialization, methodically standing up a marketing and sales department, including customer success field engineers. We're a get her done kind of team. Our leadership team is qualified by over 100 years of oil and gas experience that gives us frictionless access to customers. Thank you. Hydrodine, the only complete solution that offers zero emissions, lower cap OpEx, greater safety.
Hey, Clint, well done. Added some color there for us. A great presentation, great progress since the last time I saw you present a few months back.
Thanks,
and I want to hear more about the field trials that it sounds like they're being paid. Tell us what's going on with your field trials right now.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to be revenue positive here. The Synovus has actually qualified our system. We've recently gone through a safety assessment from a third party, and they've recently given their blessing. And so Synovus is pretty excited about us getting out there in the Pico field at this point. The other three producers, Kiwetino, New Vista, and Whitecap, are all talking about how we can get going in their particular fields. That'll happen between now and likely the end of September, October timeframe.
Okay, and you mentioned 100 units being kind of your one-year goal for the next 12 months. Could the existing customers you're talking to meet that or exceed that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is one of the issues I think we're going to have is when this proves up to be successful, I need 1,000 because there's so many wells that have to get retrofitted. In fact, ARC Resources, Synovus, CNRL are all telling us we got to get rid of our catalytic heaters, and they're reaching their end of life.
Okay.
In the next couple of years.
And so what about your manufacturing process on that note?
Yeah, so contract manufacturing, it will be done. Well, we have a memorandum of understanding with T&M Specialty Contractors. They're Aboriginal certified business. And there's a number of other people that have actually approached us, such as TerraVest. We just had a discussion with them last week. This unit can be built within shifts and installed within one shift. And so very, very little downtime. And so we can scale quite quickly.
Okay. Are you concerned? Everyone's going to ask this question for anyone in manufacturing. Are you concerned about current supply chain issues?
Not at this point. These are common materials, stainless steel 316.
Okay.
So
okay. You know what, Clint? I did not start the timer correctly, so I actually have no idea where we're at in time. But that was an awesome presentation. I think we're roughly at time. And I'm sure the investors are looking forward to diving in. And we're going to see you at Campio, right, Clint?
Oh, yes.
Of course we are.
Now we're coming right now. Thanks, Zach. Great to see you again, buddy.
Right. We'll hand it back to Erwin.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, Erwin.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump in here because Erwin is also done here for the night. And I got some bad news that we only have 3 more companies left to pitch before top 20 has been done. But the good news is that leading us in terms of co-hosting is David Cree with Platform Calgary. So I'll let him take it away. And Mr. Zach Storms is going to be checking the time and asking questions this time.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much, Neil. Yeah, so just a little bit about Platform Calgary. We bring together the resources of Calgary's tech ecosystem, and we help startups launch and grow at every step of their journey. So from ideation through to scale. We focus on making kind of all parts of Calgary's startup ecosystem better resourced, better connected, efficient, effective, prominent. We work in collaboration with many. And so through that collaboration and some targeted programming and then our brand new Platform Innovation Center, that's where we really focus all that sort of community and development and try to continue to grow Calgary's tech ecosystem. Along with that, the Alberta Catalyzer, I should just make a quick mention. We just finished the first cohorts of Alberta Catalyzer, which is pre-accelerator Alberta-wide, co-delivered with Edmonton and Calgary. And we're opening up applications for cohort 3 and 4 are open right now. And we're looking for more applications to come into that pre-accelerator. So pre-seed, not pre-seed, but pre-accelerator idea stage, helping them figure out all that customer fit. The Platform Innovation Center, the sign is up, and SVG Thrive started moving in this week. A bunch of furniture's in, a bunch of other people are starting to move in. And so we're starting to see some activity, and we should be open this spring. So really looking forward to that. And with that, let me get on to introducing Prairie Robotics. Think about Internet of Things, garbage, recycling, and a really interesting idea. And so let me pass that off. Sorry, I lost my place here on the run sheet. Let me pass that off to Sam.
Fantastic. Thank you, David. Can everyone hear me and see my screen?
Yeah, looking and sounding good, Sam.
Great. I'm Sam Dietrich, CEO and co-founder of Prairie Robotics, where we're focused on recycling made simple. 9 out of 10 citizens find recycling more confusing than investing in the stock market, filing their taxes, or assembling IKEA furniture. And while I can't see everybody on the call right now, I know this is probably a familiar experience for all of us. What this leads to is known as contamination. It's the amount of non-recyclable material that ends up in blue carts. And it's costing Canadians millions, whether that's cities like Calgary, where batteries and propane tanks cost the city nearly $1 million alone, or the region of Peel, where over $3.5 million is spent each year in additional collection and processing costs. There's roughly $4 to $7 per household in additional charges municipalities are paying due to this contamination. About 8,000 households serviced by each truck. There's over $32,000 in savings for each truck in service by a municipality. So how does this industry work? Well, today, residents recycle. Collectors collect the material, they then take it to a processor, and then fine cities based on the level of contamination. And cities have been trying the same blanket education campaigns for the last 20 years, where everybody receives the same information. It's just not moving the needle. With Prairie Robotics, we make recycling simple. Residents still recycle in the same easy way, but using our IoT platform installed on recycling collection trucks and using machine learning, we're able to automatically identify contamination at the household level and provide targeted education to change behavior. We're currently working with municipalities across Western Canada, from urban to rural. And what that targeted education looks like is a postcard that residents receive in the mail, talking about the importance of the program, and even including an image of their most recent recycling collection with contaminants highlighted. To just spotlight one of the partners we're working with the City of Regina, we did a paid pilot with them, putting our equipment on one collection vehicle, completed over 40,000 audits in a 3-month time span, engaging with over 11,000 households, sending over 10,000 mail cards. We were able to register over a 41% reduction or improvement in the level of contamination. Well, what we're finding in working with cities is they get excited about this product, not just because it's environmentally friendly, but because it shows them being progressive, innovative. From the City of Regina alone, the stories that we shared with them, it was the equivalent of over $100,000 in advertising spend. So what we're looking to do next is start to maximize citizen engagement, leveraging concepts such as peer comparison, showing how each citizen's impact factors into a neighborhood or a global scale, and also introducing an online portal where we can bridge the information we're sending via postcards to a sleek platform that residents can log onto and track their recycling and waste generation in real time. What we're really excited about is also the ability to A/B test messaging on a small scale before we scale it up across the city. Our partners are already talking to us about the next places we should take this platform, whether that's being able to identify hazardous waste in the recycling stream, such as propane tanks and batteries, taking the same technology and applying it to the organic stream where contamination is a major issue, or applying it to garbage, where they want to introduce pay-as-you-throw systems. We assembled a fantastic team across engineering and business development to bring this product to market. And just last spring, we closed a $690K pre-seed round led by Connexus Venture Capital with participation from Max Meisser, head of data science at Twitter, Dan Cognett, former owner-operator of Goliath National Waste Disposal, and Carrie Lombard, serial entrepreneur. So with that, I'm Sam Dietrich of Prairie Robotics, and we are focused on recycling made simple.
Thank you, Sam. All right, time for a couple of questions. Who else are you partnering with other than the city of Regina? Can you share?
I can share the city of Fort St. John in northern BC because that is public, but I can't share any others at this point in time.
Are there any concerns about privacy issues with you going through people's trash?
Great question. So actually anything you deposit whether it's a recycling bin or a waste bin, both in Canada and the United States, you're avoiding ownership of. There's a couple landmark cases that we could dive into later where this has previously been taken to the Supreme Court of Canada. And I should say we are a privacy focused company. Both of the cameras that we use on recycling trucks, we also automatically blur any faces that are captured and any license plates. So we aren't looking to collect any personal information.
Okay, we're just over time, but I'm gonna ask one more question anyways. Are there opportunities to go into other fields? Is it just a consumer play? Could you do like construction waste, commercial waste?
Yeah, fantastic idea. There's plenty of opportunities on the current construction side. There's also significant opportunities for data plays. As producers, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, they want to be able to capture what the recycling rates are on a smaller grain level than they can today.
Okay, let's end it there, Sam. Great presentation. There's a few other questions in the chat. Encourage you to answer them and join your local happy hour. Are you in Saskatoon or Regina? Where are you, Sam?
I'm actually in Montreal this week. But,
what? There's so many happy hours happening right now in Montreal. It's going to blow your mind.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Okay, listen, David, before I throw it back to you, I want to do my favorite part of the show. And actually, I even have my favorite partner to do this with, to make a cameo with me. None other than our co-founder, Tim Lynn, to give a shout out to all the beer sponsors that have contributed to the bar tab tonight. So we got 4 simultaneous happy hours happening right after this.
I don't know if I can read you ready.
Well, Amanda Out, who is that? Amanda Out.
That's our new marketing.
Our new marketing lead contributing to the bar tab. Kennedy Quigley.
Oh, yeah. Connection Silicon Valley.
Connection Silicon Valley. She's joining us tonight, contributing to the bar tab. Brett Whiteman, who's that?
Oh, Brett Whiteman.
One of our investors.
Yeah.
One of our investors from the last Cleantech Summit from CSV. And Frank Hempworth, I actually don't know him. Frank.
Awesome guy. Thanks, Frank.
I'm getting a signal that I can't interpret. But anyways, Frank, I look forward to meeting you very soon. And I want to give a special shout out to our final beer donor. His name is Callum, and his lovely wife, Emma, is presenting next. So thank you, Callum. See you guys very soon. Back to you, David.
Thanks, Zach, or Neil. Zach, sorry, yeah. And great, so we are moving on to element 4. And yes, we have Emma and Eric, and they've got this autonomous energy independent sensors that I'm really interested to hear more about. So off to you guys.
Are you guys on mute maybe, Eric or Emma? We can't hear anything yet.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Hey, element 4 gang, can you guys hear us? Eric or Emma?
Hey everyone, thank you, David.
for doing the presentation for us. Just quickly, I want to say that everyone loves the hat. Can anyone, just couldn't even say that. I'm going to share the screen. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Eric Brisson. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Element 4. It's not showing on.
It's not showing up.
We're not seeing your screen yet, Eric. Actually, everybody seems really keen. David, why don't you tell us where your hat is from and give Eric a chat? Oh, never mind. We'll have to keep everybody in suspense. Eric, your screen is showing and we can hear you. So
there we go. Moving forward from the hat real quick, and I know we have lost time. So hello, everyone. My name is Eric Brisson. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Element 4, technology company that is revolutionizing how IoT is powered. Currently, the problem with existing IoT sensors is that, number one, there's currently no single sensor solution that is adaptable enough to meet multiple use cases. And second, they're extremely expensive. And third, they're reliant on batteries which have a limited lifespan and inability to operate in cold environments. Furthermore, lithium mineral extraction has detrimental environmental repercussions. As a result of lithium battery production for existing IoT devices in the market today, over 4.6 billion gallons of water has been wasted and over 11.8 billion kilograms of CO2 has been displaced. Element 4's solution is to provide an adaptable, affordable, and batteryless IoT sensor and platform. The Element 4 device is modular and therefore adaptable for unlimited functionality. The self-powered device sends environmental sensor data to our analytics platform for data integration, analysis, and visualization for end users. The Element 4 technology will be entirely self-powered using solar, thermoelectric, piezoelectric, and radio frequency harvesting techniques. Not only will Element 4 technology have direct environmental benefits and place Canada as a global leader in renewable energy, but the device itself will provide indirect environmental benefits by improving the efficiency of various industries. For example, one of our strategic partners is a landscaping company. Using Element 4 to remotely monitor their plants would save annually over 200,000 liters and $300,000 in fuel and over 13,000 tons of CO2 by improving driving efficiency. Over the past 2 years, Element 4 has raised over $600,000 to design and develop our prototype. We have 100 MVPs for our strategic partner by June this year. We are looking to raise $500,000 to help produce 2,000 devices so we can start earning recurring revenue, but we need help to get there. This funding would primarily go towards salary for hiring additional qualified personnel and R&D as well as material costs. Element 4 is founded by a strong team of experienced businessmen, developers, and scientists. And then I'm told to say something nice about all of them. Well, they're amazing, they're lovely, they're funny, they're quirky, they're brilliant. I don't know what else to say. Thank you so much, and I will take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, can you tell us a little bit more about the IP for this one in terms of your IP and the patent landscape around these types of sensors in general?
Right, and so and that's a good question. So our IPs will be in several places, not only in a process standpoint, but also from a component standpoint. So our intent is to apply for several, and they will be both by components we've developed in-house as well as processes in which we've developed the technology we use.
Okay, and how about tell us a little bit more about your first customer? I know that you're working with someone that wants to buy a bunch of these products and use them this summer. Why do they want to use it? What value are they getting?
Well, the value they're getting is, I mean, as we said in the presentation, was that they're going to save a ton of money. Currently, they have individuals driving through Edmonton, checking trees and bushes to see if they need to be watered, to see if they're dying, to see if that, what the status of those units are. And it costs a lot of money, even just not only for staff, but for gas and other other things as well. I mean, internally. So our intent is to just give them the opportunity to save a ton of money. We're going to save a ton for the planet. And I mean, it's really it's the how we do this efficiently and without the need for waste.
And what do you think the key reasons are they want to use your product versus one of the existing technologies out there?
Well, main thing is price. I'm sure with anyone, the price and its capability, right? So right now, they currently the ability to do what they want to do at a cost that they would be able to afford is just not out there. What we're doing, we feel, is unprecedented. The technologies we're using are unprecedented. The way we house energy is unprecedented. So we feel like we're providing them with a ton of value. And there's no batteries to change. They can live indefinitely out in the field autonomously. So we're excited about that, and they are as well.
Okay. And in terms of launching these products, is there any like regulatory concerns or requirements you have to meet to get these things in market?
We're not sure yet. A lot of the stuff that we're using has already gone through the process of testing and certification. So at this point, no. A couple of the pieces that we're currently working on will probably need that.
Okay, why don't we end it here, Eric? We're just coming up on time. Great presentation, and hope to see you and your team at our happy hour tonight at Campio.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I'm handing it back to platform team, or Neil, or am I handing it back to myself, Neil?
Zach, you are handing it back to Mr. Zach Storms.
I'm handing it back to Mr. Zach Storms because our last presenter is actually unable to make it. So they've actually created a video pitch for us. So our last presentation from NULIFE is going to be a video pitch. And I think the team is ready to make that launch. So without further ado, it's our last presentation of the evening from NULIFE Cleantech. We will still do question period.
Did you know renewable fuels can be made from landfill diverted waste? Hi, my name is Jerry Christian, co-founder of NULIFE Greentech, and it is my pleasure to share our story with the Cleantech Summit Top 20 Pitch Night. Regions in Canada and the US are banning organics from landfills. Current solutions create low-value products, are expensive, and have serious pollution challenges. While 2030 low-carbon fuel requirements will not just be met by current solutions, such as canola crushing plants, to produce renewable diesel, governments are providing grants to drive development of new technologies and imposing punitive penalties to force deep decarbonization. Well, NULIFE presents a true sustainable and circular economy solution. We divert organic waste from landfills to produce renewable crude oil in a more cost-effective and environmentally friendly way. Our patented process uses high heat and pressure with water to transform an organic slurry into renewable crude oil, which can be upgraded into finished fuels. And we have over 3,500 hours on our commercial demonstration unit. NULIFE's solution is more sustainable because it can accept more organic waste streams. This increases processing volume while reducing pollution and solves an industry pain point. Our model is modular and scalable and has a low production cost per barrel. So we have two markets that we generate revenue from. To quote a founder of Evoke Innovations, there is a near infinite demand for low carbon fuels. And the organic waste market consists of 320 million tons a year, including 70 million tons of biosolids, and is worth over $10 billion. NULIFE's driving principles to fit within and enhance the value chain. The truck is already hauling the waste. Now it turns into NULIFE instead of the landfill, and we get paid the tipping fee. We produce renewable crude oil, which we sell to refineries to produce low carbon fuels. That's great. So do we have traction? We are working to secure our project bookends for feedstock supply and offtake agreements. We are actively engaged to build our sales pipeline both in Canada and the US. We have a team of 7 passionate professionals. Brock and I bring over 40 years of experience in successfully building, scaling, and exiting our own companies. And Michael's a chemical engineer with experience in scaling from bench to continuous pilot. We have a strong team of advisors to guide our commercialization. Our cost to produce a barrel of biocrude is $52, while we get paid at both ends. Our financials reflect an aggressive yet practical illustration of our ability to secure offtake agreements and leverage our modular technology to meet demand. We are raising a seed round of $500,000, and to reach our next milestone, NULIFE has a budget of $890,000. We currently have 15% of this target committed in grant funding. So we are offering $500,000 of convertible notes with a $10 million valuation cap, 25% discount rate, paying 6% interest with a 3-year maturity and a $25,000 minimum investment. I look forward to connecting and answering your questions and would like to meet you in person at a future TNT happy hour. Thank you.
Thank you, NULIFE team. Came in right on time at 3:06. We did time it, even though it was recorded. And we even the first question has already come in for you guys. Does your product fit with typical crude slates? How does your product change yield profiles? That's from Logan Downing. Thanks for asking that question. I'm going to leave it to the NULIFE team to answer via email or LinkedIn. Connect directly with Logan. All right, listen, enough joking around. I actually have an extra 2 minutes. Neil, am I allowed to like do a little special something for myself? I have an idea.
Yeah, I think I got no problems with that. You're already the Q&A guy, so you may as well.
Neil, does everyone know that you're calling in from Mexico? Has that been made clear to everyone?
They do now.
We already talked about that. Oh, look, the entire Element 4 team is waving to us. Listen, guys, I want to make a speech. Can I make a speech? There's 82 people left on the call. Those of you that stay to the bitter end, let's hear a speech. There's something to be rewarded by staying until the end. Okay, I want to give a speech. Ready? It's gonna be quick. I'm gonna have some notes here. A lot of people have been asking me lately, what should we do for the startup community? I got a simple answer. My answer to this is always the same. Well, I'm doing exactly what I think we should do. In fact, I think we're all doing exactly what I think we need to be doing for the startup community. There's me talking. Okay, anyways, there's a side camera angle for me. Speech got interrupted. Listen, here's 5 things that we need to do. We should be throwing a party every single week for the startup community, where scientists, entrepreneurs, investors get together to meet each other and build relationships slowly over good times. We should be investing in our local startups. And then we should be training more and more people how to invest confidently in all these great local companies like the ones you just saw here tonight. We should be providing our entrepreneurs with customized, tailored support to help them build their businesses. Building a company is a contact sport that you don't learn in the classroom. You got to get your hands dirty. So everyone think about that tonight. How can you reach out and support the entrepreneurs out here building companies? And then finally, we should have fun together, which is what we can all start doing, what we have been doing, and we can do more of right after this at the happy hour in Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatoon, or Regina. And for those of you in Montreal, they basically invented happy hours over there. They call it 5 à 7, but it goes until about midnight. So have some fun, Sam. All right, with that, I'm gonna hand it back to Jesse and Neil, our amazing hosts for this event tonight.
Thank you so much, Zach. Neil, well, that's it. We did 20 pitches one night. Any parting words for our guests?
It's really hard to follow with Zach. He's got beyond the Zach personality factor, he's got a ton of great things happening in the community, and he's doing some really cool things. And I'm excited to see some people here, not this week, but I'll be at Briggs in a couple of weeks here. But everybody go have fun at the happy hours and enjoy yourselves.
Absolutely. It is a blast working for Startup TNT. We're always looking for more people to get involved with us as ambassadors or community partners. If you're interested in working with us, please reach out on our website or reach out to any of the members of the team directly. Our finale night is coming up on April 7th. Make sure you get your tickets for that via our Eventbrite links on our website. We'll be hosting the main party in Calgary, so we can hope some folks can come and meet us there. I'm really looking forward to that and seeing Neil in person and getting a chance to meet a lot of you awesome startup community folks there. And at least one of these companies tonight, we're probably thinking there's going to be more than one, considering how tight the field looks after tonight's top 20 pitches. But at least one of these companies is going to receive nearly $200,000 worth of investment from our investors. And I couldn't be more excited to dig in.
100%. It's going to be fun. Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah. Hope you come join me here in Saskatoon. See you at Campio in Calgary, or Campio in Edmonton, Briggs in Calgary, Birmingham's here in Saskatoon, or down in Regina, we're at Cathedral Social Hall. See you there. Have a great night wherever you are, and stay well. And we'll see you at the finale night. Take care.